Lulu Lemon, is the stock as overpriced as the clothing, or are you getting exactly what you paid for? What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Tin Invest. The time is now investing, where I'm your host, Jimmy Bishrat. Like most big ideas, Lulu Lemon was rooted from nothing more than someone who saw a problem that needed solving. Founder Chip Wilson loved doing yoga exercises, but hated doing them in the standard cotton clothing. For Wilson, wearing cotton clothes to do sweaty, stretchy yoga exercises seemed almost inappropriate. Thus, the idea for Lulu Lemon was born. In the year 2000, Wilson opened up his first store in Vancouver, Canada, and quickly the company became a runaway success. In 2007, Lulu went public and used the money raised from their IPO to accelerate their expansion plans. By late 2017, Lululemon had over 380 stores and sales in excess of $2 billion. Their sales per square foot were estimated to be around $1,560, which is 4 times more than any specialty retailers, pretty much putting them in comparison with like an Apple store or a Tiffany's jeweler. But what led to this insane growth? Yes, the clothing's tremendous, but what sneaky business tactic did Lulu implement to get their customers accustomed to buying more? Well, this comes down to their limited supplies of products. For instance, things like different colors and seasonal items only having an average life cycle of about 3 to 12 weeks. This keeps the product offerings feeling fresh and new every time, pretty much leaving the customers always excited to go. But that's not the real goal in this. The real goal in this is to condition the customers to buy what they want when they see it, because maybe if they wait till next time, it might be out of stock. Wait a second, hold on. I just realized I never broke down today's video. So in today's video, or whatever's left of it, I'll begin by giving my tin theory and pretty much explaining why the company caught my attention to begin with. The next part is where I'll get into the financials and talk about some of Lulu's newest acquisitions. Then, part 3 is where I'll talk about the competitions and threats. And then in part 4, the final part, is where I'll pretty much give some pros and cons and wrap up today's video. So, without further ado, let's not waste more time. What's the tin theory behind Lululemon? Athleisure wear is growing at an unprecedented rate. And in my opinion, COVID helped give it even more firepower. If you think about it, some of the biggest reasons or downfalls to Lululemon is their high price tags, especially when your new $160 leggings aren't even considered work attire. Well, that was before working from home became a thing. Now in the new Zoom era, all that matters is your upper half. I mean, I may or may not be just wearing my boxers right now. Point is, you have no idea. What I'm getting at, and again, this is just my theory, so please take everything I say with a grain of salt because I am not a financial advisor. But I believe that working from home gave Lululemon's clothing a whole nother side of value, pretty much making it worth it for some people to finally buy their first pairs. And honestly, I believe this is just the hook being bitten by a whole bunch of new customers. Yeah, I may start with one pair, but the customer's soon going to realize that the company offers everything from shorts to jeans, t-shirts to button-downs, and the best part is, all of them are equally as comfortable. So I'm pretty confident that most of these first-time buyers are going to become return customers. Now, the reason I do sound so confident is because I've seen a lot of people who had never considered spending so much on clothing become massive Lulu fans. And I mean, I'm kind of talking about myself here. In about 2014, my sisters got me my first pair of Lululemon khakis for Christmas. I thought they were out of their minds. For one, I thought Lululemon was a girl brand at the time. And 2, buying me such expensive pants. But that was before I tried them on and realized for myself how amazing the clothing really is. I mean, I basically wore those pants every chance I got, and I continue to expand my closet. Now fast forward 7 years and a majority of the clothes I wear are Lululemon. I believe that Lulu's newest customers have now bitten the same hook, and I'm excited to see the company grow as all the new customers grow their collections the same way I did. And by the way, guys, before I go any further, I'm not alone. Now, a study I found is an older one, but it's still relatable. In the 2014, The Motley Fool reported that in the United States, 55% of shoppers between the ages of 25 and 35 said Lululemon was their favorite brand. In Canada, that number was 70% of shoppers. When compared to, let's say, Nike, where 45 and 38% of shoppers said it was their favorite choice. What I'm getting at is more and more customers are starting to choose Lululemon over other very prominent brands. I mean, if I had to pick myself, I guess I'd say the same thing. Lululemon is my favorite brand, and that's honestly what got me looking into the company stock. Okay, so now time for part two, the numbers. Since my theory somewhat revolves around COVID, I figured for the finance part, I'd try to give some numbers more specifically from last year. Overall, revenue saw an 11% growth, and that's due to a few factors. Online direct-to-consumer saw a major increase in sales. For instance, e-commerce grew 94% when compared to Q4 of 2019. Yet, this also led to some more costs within the company. For example, a need for more logistics and shipping fulfillment, as well as an increase in use of third-party warehouses. My guess is this is probably a direct effect of the 25% increase in Lululemon's inventory. Another thing to factor in to Lulu's more recent growth could also be their more recent push into the global market. Lulu saw a 47% increase in international growth. The company is continuing to grow their global presence across the world. They even opened 6 new stores in 2020, thus ending the year with a total of 521 stores across the globe. Now, the next big move made by the company in their last year was their acquisition of Mirror. Mirror is advertised as, and I quote here, I'll pull it up right here, the nearly invisible home gym that transforms less than 2 feet of wall space into a cardio class, a yoga studio, a boxing ring, and so much more. Personally, I think the idea is kind of stupid, especially for something that I believe can be replicated from a YouTube video on your TV or phone. But if the idea really was that stupid, I doubt Lululemon would have purchased the company at a price tag of $500 million. And though $500 million may seem like a lot, it's nothing when Lululemon is forecasting that the platform could generate $700 million in revenue and reach 600,000 subscribers by 2023. And this may seem unrealistic, but Mirror already generated $170 million in revenue in 2020 alone. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but I think that's enough numbers for this video. Now time for part 3, the competition. What are the threats to Lululemon? Who is Lulu's competition? The first thought that comes to mind is obviously Nike, the biggest of the athletic clothing brand companies in the world. But I believe that Lulu has made themselves more of a specialty good when being compared to Nike. The next competitor that comes to mind is Gap's Athleta. Gap took full advantage of the bad publicity that Lulu took on when their CEO came out and said that maybe some body sizes shouldn't be wearing their clothing. Now, I'm not going to get into this, but if you're interested, just type it in on the internet. I'm sure you'll find many articles talking about it. From then on, Gap made the effort to advertise towards thicker women, as well as moms. When I was on a plane coming home from vacation, I was sitting next to this girl who worked for the marketing team of Athleta. She went on to mention how they specifically attack that demographic of women, which at the end of the day, that will take away customers from Lulu. The next big threat that I see to Lululemon are those Insta ad brands that basically advertise that they're the same as Lululemon, only for $15 and $20. Or even Target's newest short brand. And yeah, I said Target, like the store. Their shorts almost replicate Lulu's in every way possible except for the price. So yes, this industry is filled with tons of competition. And that should not be overlooked before you consider putting your money into Lululemon. Okay, we finally made it to everyone's favorite part, the happies and sads, the goods and bads, the pros and cons. The first pro I want to mention is that on December 1st of 2020, Lululemon approved an increase to their share buyback program. They upped their existing stock repurchase program from about $260 million and nearly doubled it to $500 million. Now, I know by no means is this detrimental to a company, but I do see it as a positive if someone like Lululemon is willing to continue betting on themselves and buying more of their own stock. On top of that, on the topic of how much Lulu actually values their stock, when they acquired Mirror, rather than paying for Mirror Company in stock, Lulu chose to do so using some of the company's cash instead. The next pro I want to mention is Lulu's most recent idea to make their clothing more affordable. Like I stated in the beginning of the video, one of the biggest problems with Lululemon is they're too expensive. So starting in May, Lululemon customers in California and Texas will be able to trade in gently used Lulu items in exchange for a Lulu gift card. Then, the following month, those gently used items will start to be sold online to people who are looking to pay less and don't mind a little bit of wear on their clothing. The company's calling the pilot Like New. They're partnering with Trove, a business that already helped companies like Levi's and Patagonia build out a marketplace, a resale marketplace. Before you're deterred to the idea of reused clothing and reworn clothing, Lulu Lemon already made it clear that all traded-in items will be cleaned, and that if the items don't meet a standard of quality, they'll just simply be recycled. Apart from affordability, this helps the business work towards several of their sustainability goals that they laid out last fall, including making 100% of their products with sustainable materials. Now, the final pro that I want to touch upon is how customer first and customer oriented Lulu Lemon really is. Employees are trained to eavesdrop in a good way on the customers. For instance, if you've ever been to a Lululemon store, you've probably noticed that the clothes folding tables are placed near the fitting rooms rather than in some back room. This is so the employees can overhear complaints from the customers. Nearby, a large chalkboard allows the customers to write in suggestions, which are then sent to corporate and used to create a better overall shopping experience. Among all that, Lululemon specifically hires employees who are passionate about athletics. Part of the hiring process involves taking prospect employees to a yoga or a spin class. Some 70% of store managers are internal hires, most even starting on the sales floor and grew up in the culture. But don't let all this fool you. Lululemon's rep is definitely not all fine and dandy. Apart from the bad publicity from the whole thicker woman saga, Chip Wilson, the founder of Lululemon, definitely wasn't the most racially respectful person either. He told Canada's National Post Business Magazine that he purposely put a lot of letter L's in the name because, and I quote, "It's funny to watch them try to say it when speaking in regards to Japanese people struggling to pronounce the letter L." But in response to this, Chip is no longer running operations, so hopefully his immature comments won't have an effect on the future stock price. I remember back when I got my first pair of Lulus and thinking, whoa, maybe this could be a good investment. At the time, the share price was about $40, but also at the time I wasn't old enough to invest. So sadly, I missed out on that insane return. But I don't think it's too late. The reason this channel is called The Time Is Now Investing is because I believe when you're buying into companies with strong fundamentals and when you're using money that isn't what most call rent money, then I believe it's always the right time to invest. At the end of the day, trying to time the market is pretty much impossible. And if somebody tells you that they can, well, in short, they're full of shit. They may have good reason to believe in a bullish or a bearish run, but at the end of the day, nobody knows. So that's why rather than trying to time the market, my goal in this channel is to break down companies and then slowly dollar cost average into the ones that I truly believe in. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, do all that BS that YouTubers ask you to do. And if you have any suggestions for me or my content, please let me know in the comments below. My goal in this is to get better and better each video. All right, well, that's all I have for you today. Always remember, guys, the time is now.